Namaskar everyone and welcome to our Ramayana Satsang, the 50th day. Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padambuja Yukma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmad Gurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेत सादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. With prayers at the lotus feet of Acharya and Sri Rama, let us go to our topic for today. So yesterday's satsang we had seen how the bridge was built and all the Vanaras along with Rama and Lakshmana crossed the ocean and reached Lanka. Now Rama and his army, they camp on this mountain called as Suvela. Now, when they are standing there and they are looking all around, suddenly they notice that Ravana has come to the top of the palace where he lives. And seeing him, Sugriva gets very angry and suddenly, without informing anybody, without talking to anyone, he jumps from that top of that Suvela mountain and he lands on the terrace of that building where Ravana is standing. He fights with Ravana, he pushes his crown away, he wrestles with him, and both of them are engaged in a very severe fight. Suddenly, this Ravana feels exhausted, and for a moment, he lets go of Sugriva. And then he thinks that, okay, it is not going to be possible for me to fight this monkey with my physical power, so I should make use of some magical power. At that very moment, Sugriva realizes what he's going to do, and suddenly he kind of comes back to his senses. He jumps back to that mountain where Rama and the others are there. And as soon as Sugriva returns, Rama is very worried. He said, what? He sees that Sugriva has been hurt in that skirmish with Ravana. And he says, what is this, Sugriva? Why did you do like this? It is not expected of you. You are the king of all the monkeys. How can you behave so impulsive like this? Why did you do such a rash thing? Imagine if something had happened to you, what would have been the purpose of all our friendship? You imagine if something had happened to you, I would never be able to forgive myself. And Rama says, don't ever do anything like that. He tells Sugriva that, I'm sorry. Now, the next day, Rama sends Angada as a messenger to Ravana. And he says to Angada, go and convey this to Ravana. What does he send the message? Arakshasam imam lokam karta asmi nishitaihi sharaihi nachet sharanam abhyeshi mam upadaya maithilim. If Ravana, if you do not come and fall at my feet, you don't beg forgiveness from me and return Sita to me, I will make sure that all Rakshasas in this world are destroyed. And that includes you. So like this, a very firm message Rama sends through Angada to Ravana. Angada goes there and he conveys Rama's words to him. Hearing this, Ravana is furious and he wants to seize Angada. He says, catch hold of this Vanara and put him to death. But no matter how much they try, they try to pull him, but Angada just exerts a tiny fraction of his strength and nobody is able to pull him. So what he does is he stands with his feet very firmly planted on the ground. Now 3 or 4 Rakshasas come and they catch hold of his legs and they are trying to, move him from there. He doesn't move at all. Suddenly, when they least expect it, he jumps out of their grip. He flies to the roof of the palace in which Ravana is sitting and he tramples and destroys the roof of that Sabha. And then he returns to Rama. This much is described in the Valmiki Ramayana. So Ravana has seen, he got the message from Angada, he understood what is Rama's viewpoint. He wanted to do some harm to Angada, but he could not succeed. And Angada showed them that he had so much power. Now, this much only is described in Valmiki Ramayana. In Kamba Ramayana, there's a more interesting event that happens. This Angada, when he goes there, not only does he convey Rama's message, but it is said that he asks he asks Ravana, "Are you that same Ravana?" So Ravana says, "Which Ravana? What do you mean by same Ravana?" So first Angada says, "There was one Angada, there was one Ravana who was tied up by my father Vali in his tail because he tried to act too smart. Are you that same Ravana?" He asks. Ravana's face, he is very insulted by this because he remembers that incident where he had gone to challenge Vali to a fight. And this Vali, instead of fighting with him, had very simply tied him up in his tail and kept him prisoner in the tail. And Ravana had realized how powerful is this Vali. So, remembering that incident now, Ravana's face becomes very small. Then Angada asks him that I heard of one more Ravana. Are you that same Ravana who was humbled by this person called Kartyaveera Arjuna? Who is this Kartyaveera Arjuna? It is one of the Kshatriyas. Okay, he was such that he had thousands of arms, and one day he was playing in the river. He was bathing in the river, and that time he had spread out his arms, and because of that the flow of the water was obstructed. Now downstream of that river, this Ravana had been doing some rituals in the river, and because the water suddenly stopped coming, he was very angry, and he wanted to find out who has done this. So he reaches that place and he finds that this Kartyaveera Arjuna is the one who is the culprit. So he challenges him to a fight, and then similarly, just like Vali, this Ravana was nothing. Kartyavirja was so powerful that he caught hold of Ravana like an insect and tied him up to the entrance, that arch of the city where he was ruling. So now Angada is saying, "Are you that same Ravana who was so easily disposed of by that Arjuna like that?" And then Angada tells him, "You think you are very powerful, O Ravana, but see that Kartyaveera Arjuna who had caught hold of you, he was humbled. He was defeated by Parshurama. And that Parshurama was so easily defeated by Rama. So you imagine what is the great power of Rama. Somebody who defeated you, who was defeated by Parshurama, and that Parshurama also was defeated by this Rama. So you can make out how very powerful Rama is. So don't make the mistake of getting into a fight with him. Even now, nothing is lost. Rama has told that if you surrender Sita, he is willing to let you go. But Ravana is not bothered about all this, isn't it? He only feels insulted. And he knows it is true, whatever Angada is telling. So he only says, catch hold of this fellow and put him to death. That's all that he has in answer. So now there is no more chance of peace between the two sides. And the next day, the Rama Ravana Yuddha has started. When they describe this Yuddha, they say it was such a terrific, such a horrific battle that there is no other thing to which it can be compared. There is a shloka which expresses this. They say, Gaganam Gaganakaram, Sagaram Sagaropama, Rama Ravana Yor Yuddham, Rama Ravana Yor Iva. Just as you can't compare the sky to anything else, you have to say sky is as big as the sky only. It's only one of its kind. Similarly, you cannot compare the ocean, the Sagara, to anything else. There is nothing else like the ocean. It is one of itself. Similarly, this battle between Rama and Ravana is incomparable. You cannot compare it to anything else. You can say it is like something else. If you want to say, you have to say Rama Ravana Yuddha was exactly like Rama Ravana Yuddha. So it is matchless. There is nothing to compare to this kind of a Yuddha. Now, both the sides were equally matched. We may think that Rakshasas had all kinds of Shakti, they had all Ayudhas, they had all Shastras, and they had Mayavi power also. But then the Vanaras, they had brute strength, and they had smart thinking, and they had, most importantly, the faith and dedication to Rama, and therefore they were also equal match to the Rakshasas. And during the daytime, it was generally that the Vanaras would win the battles, but in the night time, it was the Rakshasas. They are Nishacharas, isn't it? Their energy grows in the night. So they would win during the night time. So, like this, the battle continued for many days. There were a lot of warriors who were dying on the Vanara side. Many of the Rakshasas were also killed. Only difference is that Rama did not destroy the bodies of those Vanaras who were killed. The bodies were kept with all due respect in one place. But Ravana, whichever Rakshasas died in the battle, he had told his people that you should not keep any of those bodies anywhere. You have to throw them into the ocean. Why? Because he didn't want the other warriors to see those dead Rakshasas and feel demotivated. So Ravana had ordered that the dead Rakshasas, their bodies should be thrown into the ocean. Now, during the next day of the war, this Indrajit, who is Ravana's son, he comes there and with his Mayavi Shakti, he becomes invisible. And in that invisible form, he hits a Astra, which is called as the Nagapasha, the serpent-like binding arrow at Rama and Lakshmana. So both of them become unconscious. They are totally covered with those arrows. They are bleeding and they are immobile. So looking at them, it appears as though they have died, but they are just struck unconscious by that Nagapasha. Many of the Vanaras also are struck down by that Nagapasha. And Indrajit goes back to Lanka thinking that he has killed all of them. But within a short while of that happening, Garuda appeared in the sky. We know Garuda is the Vahana of Narayana. And here, Rama is the avatar of Narayana. So the minute there is some kind of a danger, Garuda appeared in the sky. And we know of the natural enmity between the Garuda, between the eagle and the serpents. So the minute Garuda came in the sky, the mere radiance from his wings reached the bodies where these Vanaras, Rama, Lakshmana, everybody was lying on the ground, and that Nagapasha broke. So that Nagastra had nothing to do anymore. It did not stay there to bind all these people, and it went away. And these warriors all woke up, and the war continued. So let us stop the story part here for now. No, we have some more things also. On the first day of the Yuddha, Hanuman killed Akampana. The Vanara called Neela killed the great warrior, Rakshasa warrior called Prahasta. On the second day, Ravana himself came to the battlefield and he fought against many Vanaras. Lakshmana was wounded by Ravana and he fell to the ground. At that point, Ravana thought that, okay, I have thrown down, I have, caused harm to this Lakshmana. Let me carry him away. So that if I carry him away, then Rama is bound to come and surrender at my feet. So Ravana tried to lift Lakshmana's body, but he couldn't move even an inch. This Ravana was so strong that he had lifted Mount Meru and Mount Kailasha. This Ravana couldn't lift the simple small body of Lakshmana, and he was shocked that what is happening. He tried with all his strength, but he couldn't lift him, and he was forced to move away. At that very moment, Hanuman came there, and just like one lifts a leaf which has fallen on the ground, so easily Hanuman lifted Lakshmana and took him away to safety. Now, again, the fight has to continue, and it is time for Ravana to fight with Rama. Hanuman saw that this Ravana had come in a chariot, he had a ratha, and Rama was standing on the ground because he didn't have a chariot. So at that point, Hanuman tells Rama, he says, Mama Prishtom Samaruhya Rakshasam Shastumarhasi Vishnur Yatha Garut Manta Maruhyam Amara Vairinam. Hanuman tells Rama that you climb on my back, just like Vishnu is always sitting on Garuda to fight against the demons. You climb on my back and sit. I will carry you, and then you can fight with Ravana at an equal level. Like this, Hanuman offers, and Rama is carried on Hanuman's shoulders, and he manages to start the fight with Ravana. At that point, what happens? Ravana notices that whatever he does, how many ever arrows he is hitting, Rama is countering all of them, and Rama is very calm and composed. He is not at all affected by this Yuddha. With a gentle smile on his face, Rama is fighting. So this Ravana gets very irritated. And the next minute, he notices that, oh, this Vanara who is carrying Rama is this same Hanuman who came and caused so much damage to Lanka, who set fire to Lanka. And he had killed my son, that Akshakumar. So he gets very angry seeing Hanuman. And instead of fighting against Rama, he starts hitting the arrows at Hanuman. Tato Ramo Mahateja Ravanena Kritavranam Drishtva plavanga shardulam, krodhasya vashame yuvan. Seeing that Hanuman is being attacked by Ravana, seeing that Ravana is wounding Hanuman, Rama got very angry. He was furious, and then he started fighting with a lot of energy and with lot of power against Ravana. So in that fight, what happens is Rama breaks the chariot of Ravana. He strikes down the weapons of Ravana. He even hits an arrow at the crown of Ravana, which goes and falls on the ground. But Rama does not kill Ravana. He sends him back. He tells him that I know I have tormented you in this battle. You go to Lanka today. I'm sparing you for today. You go back and you take rest. You get yourself equipped with a new chariot with new weapons. And tomorrow you come again. And that time I will show you my Kaushalya. That time I will show you my Bala, how strong I am. So you go today. I'm granting you your life. Go back. I will not fight you anymore today, says Rama. So these are the things that happened during the first and second days of the battle. So let us see some deeper aspects here, which the Acharyas explain. First thing is, we said that during the fight, when Indrajit comes there and tries to bind them with the Nagapasha, we said that Rama fell to the ground. Rama's body was also bleeding, right? And he was also rendered unconscious. Now we may wonder that Rama, we are saying, is an avatar of the Lord. So if he is an avatar of the Lord's form is made up of Shuddha Sattva. It is not made up of flesh and blood like human beings. Then, if Rama is avatar of the Lord, how is it that his body can bleed like a human body? Here, the Acharyas explain that Rama has taken avatara as Manushya. So to stay true to that avatara, he is completely like a human being. How can it be that all the rest of the time he's like a human being and only at the time of the yuddha he becomes divine? He cannot do that. And moreover, this Ravana can be killed only by a manushya because he has not asked for immunity against human beings. So that is why, to stay true to that avatara swarupa, which is like a human being, Rama takes on the same qualities which the human body has, and therefore his body also becomes unconscious, his body also starts bleeding, and so on. Now, the acharyas say here that this Rama, okay, forget about the divine thing and all that. Even as a human being, he is a very strong person. He is a very parakrami Shura, isn't it? Then how can it be that such a person falls to the ground and he got bound up and so on? So here the acharyas explain that Rama is doing all this to show us that even if you don't have any divine qualities, if you are always sticking to the path of dharma, if you are sincere, right, and you are forever always on the path of dharma, then there it may appear as if temporarily you have lost the battle. It may appear as if you are at a disadvantage, but in reality, you can get up again and fight. And because you are on the side of dharma, dharma itself will protect you. We have heard that saying, isn't it? Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So the one who protects dharma, he is protected by dharma. So to give inspiration to all of us, to give us this example that we must always be on the side of dharma. Although it may appear as if short term we are suffering, but in the long term we are definitely going to win. In the fight between dharma and adharma, it's always going to be dharma that wins. So to teach us that, Rama did everything that a human being will do. He fought like a human being, he fell to the ground like a human being, and he was helped by all kinds of divine help. And he stood up again and fought and won victory for the side of Dharma. It appeared as if Indrajit was winning, isn't it? When he hit the Nagapasha, he thought he has won. But in the long run, the victory comes only to somebody who is dharmika, not to people who are on the side of adharma. Now we saw that when Lakshmana fell down, Ravana went and tried to lift him to carry him away. But Ravana couldn't lift him. Why is it that Ravana couldn't lift Lakshmana, but Hanuman could lift him? Here the Acharyas explain, who is Lakshmana? He is after all Adishesha. As Adishesha, he is the one who is bearing the weight of the entire Brahmanda, isn't it? Is it possible for somebody like Ravana, an evil person like Ravana, to even be able to touch Lakshmana? definitely he can't do anything. He may have lifted Mount Meru, he may have lifted Mount Kailasa, but Lakshmana is the one who is carrying the entire universe on himself. How can Ravana, who is an evildoer, who is a Rakshasa, how can he be able to touch that Adishesha? He was not able to. Then how Hanuman could do it? Because Hanuman approached Lakshmana with love, with devotion. And for the Bhakta, the Adishesha will become very lightweight. But for Ravana, for the evil person like Ravana, Lakshmana will be like Adishesha. So that is the reason why Hanuman could lift Lakshmana, but Ravana couldn't lift him. Now we said that Rama was fighting Ravana with a pleasant smile on his face. He wasn't at all upset with the fight. But the minute Ravana started attacking Hanuman, then Rama got very angry and unleashed the full might of his capabilities. Why did this happen? So here the Acharyas explain that it proves to us yet again the concept that the Lord is able to bear any kind of apachara which the devotees, the people show to him. If anybody is being his enemy, he will bear all their enmity with nothing more than a graceful smile. He is content with taking all their enmity. But if somebody attacks, if somebody tries to harm his bhaktas, then the Lord gets very angry. The Lord personally has no enemy. But if somebody tries to trouble his bhaktas, then he considers that person who is the enemy of the bhakta as his own enemy. And that is why Rama, who was fighting with a pleasant smile and without any anger, the minute Ravana attacked Hanuman, because Hanuman was being attacked by Ravana, then Rama got angry. Why did Rama not kill Ravana on that day itself? Why did he send him back? He had already made him Nirayudha. He had already deprived him of all his weapons. He had made him fall from the chariot and so on. Then why didn't he finish the job of killing Ravana that day itself? Here the Acharyas explain that even at that point, Rama was having a fond hope that maybe this Ravana, after seeing my Parakrama, after seeing what all we are capable of, our Vanara army, whatever it is capable of, after seeing that, maybe he will come and surrender to me. That was the fond hope in the mind of Rama. And therefore, he gave him some time. He said, go back today and come back again tomorrow. Isn't it? So that he hoped that in that time gap which Ravana got, he will think or somebody will advise him and he will listen to their advice and he will come the next day saying, I am surrendering to you. And in that event, Rama would have been able to spare him. Rama didn't need to kill him if he had surrendered. That to give him that opportunity, Rama did not kill him on the first instance itself. And it is said that when this Ravana went back to Lanka that night and he was nursing his wounds and he was remembering each of those arrows of Rama, how it hit him, then although Rama was his enemy, Ravana was full of praise. He was full of appreciation for the Parakrama of this Rama. And he kept saying, such a great Veera, such a great Veera, so great a fighter this Rama is. And it is told that that is how Rama got the name as Veera Raghava. In many temples, we see the Lord's form as Veera Raghava. So this name was actually coined by Ravana, who was carried away, who was full of appreciation for that Veera of that Rama. These are some of the things that we've understood in today's session. So let us offer gratitude at the lotus feet of Rama, at the lotus feet of Acharyas, and pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Tomorrow we will see what happens next in the fight. Mangalam Kosalendraya, Mahaniya Gunabdaye, Chakravarti Tanujaya, Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam, Veda Vedanta Vedyaya, Megha Shyamalamurtaye, Pumsam Mohana Rupaya, Punyashlokaaya Mangalam, Pitrabhaktaya Satatam, Bhratrabhihi Sahasitaya, Nanditakhila Lokaya, Ramabhadraya Mangalam, Srimate Raghuviraya, Setu Langita Sindhave, Chitarakshasarajaya, रणधीराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलाशासनपरैर् मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you everybody. We'll meet again tomorrow and see what happens next. Namaskar.